that if a person will honor the duty to those below him, when he enjoys a degree of authority, he is at liberty to exploit, he is at liberty to abuse. If he will fear Allah in this contentious issue of his life, which becomes very contentious for many people, and authority becomes in a manner in which they start exploiting, if he will become conscious of Allah in this regard, then he will never fail in the regards of those that are senior to him. It is unfortunate when we measure our kindness, we measure it in a way that suits us. So a person ideally consoles, flatters and conceits himself by saying, I'm a very good man. Why? My mother-in-law loves me. She says like I'm like a son to her. My boss promoted me. My neighbor, we have outings. My mom, she's never happy. Don't worry about her. Allah has everything to do on judging you via your mother. We judge ourselves that we are polite to the customers. That is customer courtesy. Have you convinced those in your employment? Have you left them making dua for you? Understand, Anas radiallahu anhu was the servant of the Nabi of Allah. As a young child, you cannot tell me he wasn't provoked into a situation. Yet Anas, the servant, says, if your servant has said you're a kind man, take it from me, you're a kind man. Otherwise, don't fall prey to the false, the false temptations or the false identities given to you by other people. Allah will judge us and Allah will screen us through our kindness to those under us. That is how Allah, those under our employment, those over whom Allah has given us authority. Abu Mas'ud Badri says, we had a servant in our house, and one day I was about to hit him, and then someone from the back came and said, Lallahu aqdaru alayka minka ala hadha al-ghulam. Abu Mas'ud, you know what? Allah has more access over you than you have over your servant. And Allah is at more liberty over you than you are over your servant. When I turned around, I seen the face of the Nabi of Allah, and I felt embarrassed. I said, Huwa hurrun li wajhillah. Can I say he is free for the pleasure of Allah? Nabi alayhi salam said, Ama law lam taf'al lalafahatka an-nar. Just as well you said it, otherwise Jahannam will not leave you. So the last words of the Nabi of Allah was slaves. Undoubtedly we have passed the era where slaves are. But we do have people under our control. Imagine, I mentioned this back home in South Africa as well, that a person, a servant or a slave, a prisoner came to Masjid al-Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he says, when I entered, I hated Muhammad the most. And by the third morning, I loved Muhammad the most. We have non-Muslim staff under our employment that are working for us for 20 years. Not once does he ask me, Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Yusuf, Mr. Ibrahim, tell me you're going to pray. What is this prayers? You are fasting. What are you fasting? A most staunch disbeliever. His heart was melted in 3 days. And here people watching us and observing and monitoring us for 20 years. Yet they never dare to ask us on Islam. There is a major question mark on the reflection of Islam we are presenting. Abu Dharr, the riwayat comes in Bukhari. One person says, لَقِيتُ أَبَا ذَرٍّ بِالرَّبْزَةِ وَعَلَيْهِ حُلَّةٌ وَعَلَى غُلَامِهِ حُلَّةٌ. I seen Abu Dharr walking, and he was dressed, and his slave was dressed in the same uniform. His slave was dressed. We do not have to improve the image of Islam. It has its natural beauty. Let us undo the